Hi, this is Tom Stavorowski. Welcome to Forever Well. I'm the founder of Forever Well and the developer of gut-brain therapy. In part one of the introduction, we talked to you about the various modalities and concepts and philosophies of natural medicine and the pieces we've taken from that we think are valuable in looking at migraine in a new, exciting way. Now we're going to share with you some of the modern medical research that has guided us in our attempt to help you deal with your migraine disease. Probably the most comprehensive book on headache and migraine, and a book that you'll find on most of your neurologist shelves, is Wolf's Headache. Very comprehensive in looking at not just the research that's being done now, but all the background research, where we've been in the study of migraine and headache disorders. And probably the thing that jumps out is just that. It's an area that has been studied forever. Thousands of doctors and researchers have dedicated their careers and their efforts to trying to find an understanding and a solution to the migraine dilemma. Lots of detail in here about the vascular theory of migraine, the dilation and constriction of blood vessels and the role in the pain that you deal with. A lot of information about the brainstem inflammation concept and how that might be looking at a root cause of migraine. And it's really fascinating, a lot of great detail. But there's another area of modern medical research that isn't even mentioned in this book, not even discussed. And that's the work by Dr. Michael Gershon, medical doctor at Columbia University in New York City, and his colleagues. They form a new area of medical research called neurogastroenterology, the study of the gut-brain. Now, Dr. Gershon's book is absolutely fascinating. The gut brain is also known in Dr. Gershon's book as the second brain, or on a more technical side, the enteric nervous system. The digestive system is a tube that runs from our mouth to our anus and includes the mouth, the esophagus, the stomach, the small intestine, the large intestine. There's more technical breakdowns of each of those components, but that's all we need to discuss at this time. In the lining of that tube, based on Dr. Gershon's research, are more nerve cells than there are in the spinal column. That nerve complex in the lining of our digestive system operates the digestive processes without any independent direction from the head brain. All the rest of our peripheral nervous system, that cause responses and we touch a stove and we react, that part of our nervous system simply sends signals to the brain so the brain can make decisions and send a signal to the hand to come off of that hot stove. So the brain is the part of the nervous system that makes decisions. The second brain, the enteric nervous system, the reason it's called a brain is because the nerve cells in this complex make decisions as well, without independent direction from the head brain. This second brain, this enteric nervous system, literally operates the digestive processes and the decision-making that requires without independent direction from the head brain. Fascinating research. One of the highlights that really surprised me and made me start to think about how this could be applied to migraine disease was that 95% of the body's serotonin, which is the target of the triptan drugs like Imitrex, as well as antidepressants, 95% of the body's serotonin is made in the gut. All the neurotransmitters and neuropeptides that function in the head brain also play a role in the gut brain. So this really starts to open the window of possibility into why there might be a root cause of migraine laying in the gut. Now listen, we all know, all of you know, that the digestive system has some function as it relates to migraine. Many of you have nausea and vomiting associated with your migraines. Many of you have food triggers. Many of you have already had a sense that your digestive system is playing a role. But probably the aspect of this research that literally had me fall off my chair was that part when they've looked at the effects of Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's disease. When the neuropathologists do autopsies on those patients, they find lesions in the brain tissue that are indicative of each disease. Now let's remember, Parkinson's disease and Alzheimer's disease have strictly been considered head-brain neurological conditions. When those pathologists go on and dissect the nerve tissue of the gut brain, they find identical lesions in the nerve tissue of the gut. Now, at this point, nobody understands whether these diseases are starting in the brain and moving to the gut, or starting in the gut and moving to the brain, or starting both places at the same time. But at the very least, it suggests the possibility that if you have a problem in your head, you may very well have a problem in your gut. I want to read just a little bit of this book when Dr. Gershon talks about this work to show you how clearly these possibilities are being delineated within the research. He says, and I quote, "I should not have been surprised to learn that Parkinson's disease is a disorder of the enteric nervous system as well as the brain. Like many surprises that, in retrospect, seem unsurprising after the shock of discovery is past, this one too might have been anticipated. The enteric nervous system is, after all, a very close cousin of the brain. As I explained to the Society of Neuroscientists at the workshop in Cincinnati, the enteric nervous system has more in common both chemically and structurally with the brain than with the rest of the peripheral nervous system. The enteric nervous system looks as if it were a brain gone south. As a result, it is to be anticipated that illnesses of various types that occur in the brain will also involve the enteric nervous system." He goes on, "Alzheimer's disease, as much as Parkinson's, illustrates the validity of this idea. Alzheimer's affects the enteric nervous system in the same way as it affects the brain. Moreover, just as it occurs in Parkinson's disease, the characteristic lesions that neuropathologists use to diagnose Alzheimer's disease are found in the enteric nervous system as well as the brain. Since these lesions occur in the bowel, it seems likely that the function of the enteric nervous system is compromised in at least some patients with Alzheimer's disease. Nevertheless, I do not know of a single systematic study of the bowel problems of Alzheimer's patients." Again, if you have a problem in your head, you may very well have a problem in our gut. Now, this all suggested to us, when we combined this research with the philosophies of natural medicine, that we might really find a root cause of migraine in the gut brain. Now, it's interesting because you wonder why the neurologists haven't latched on to this research. The answer is structural. And what I mean by that is that if you have irritable bowel and migraine, you go to the gastroenterologist. The digestive system is the area he studies. And if you have headache or migraine, you go to the neurologist, which studies the head brain. And so they tend not to talk to each other. So when this research came out showing that there's a neurological component to the gut, it belonged with the gastroenterologist. If nothing else, this research is going to eventually force the neurologist and the gastroenterologist to start talking to each other. And what it's shown us is there's a real possibility that by addressing and helping the health of your digestive system, we can have an impact on your migraine. And indeed, that's what many, many of our customers have seen. Our products, our gut brain therapy does not work for everybody, but it does work for a lot. And listen, we've got a lot of additional information and research here. Please read through the site, watch the rest of the videos. We're excited to help you, and we welcome your questions. Don't hesitate to write or call. So thanks very much. Enjoy the rest of the site.